If you've been staring at your garden beds wondering why nothing seems to grow, no matter how much compost or fertilizer you throw at it, you're not alone. Poor soil is one of the most frustrating problems gardeners face, and it can feel like you're fighting a losing battle. Plants stay stunted, leaves yellow, harvests shrink, and no amount of store-bought soil mixes seem to solve the problem. But here's the good news: the problem usually isn't your plants, it's the soil life beneath them. If the microbes in your soil are asleep or suffocating, your garden will always struggle. The fix is easier than most gardeners realize. With just one method, you can wake up those microbes, give them a safe, long-term home, and turn dead soil into a living powerhouse. And you can start this process in just a week. So, the secret to healthy soil is actually creating a home for microbes, not just, adding them in. Most gardeners hear about these beneficial microbes and honestly, immediately rush out to buy a microbe pack. But here's the truth: if your soil isn't ready for them, you're just wasting your money. Microbes are a lot like workers on strike. They simply won't lift a finger until they have food, air, and shelter, and you really don't have to keep buying more of them. You already have indigenous microbes in your soil right now, but, well, they're dormant. The key is to create a space where these microbes can actually thrive and multiply. That's where one overlooked material comes in: charcoal. Charcoal has a porous structure, with all these tiny tunnels and chambers that can house billions of microbes. Once colonized, these microbes live inside those pores, protected from extreme heat, waterlogging, or nutrient leaching. Charcoal becomes a permanent home base, a microbial reservoir that lasts for years. When you combine it with compost or partially decomposed manure, you create a living inoculant that wakes up your soil faster than any store-bought microbe product. The first step is sourcing your charcoal. This should not be briquettes treated with chemicals or lighter fluid, but plain wood charcoal. Break it into small chunks, ideally about the size of peas to walnuts. The more surface area you create, the more room microbes have to colonize. But don't grind it to dust. You want a porous structure, not powder. Next, place your crushed charcoal into a 5-gallon bucket. Fill the bucket with non-chlorinated water, either rainwater or tap water that's been left out overnight so the chlorine can dissipate. Chlorinated water kills microbes, so skipping this step would really set you back to zero. Once the charcoal is submerged, add compost or aged manure at a ratio of 1 part compost to 4 parts charcoal by volume. For example, for every gallon of charcoal, add about a quart of compost. Stir the mixture well, so the microbes in the compost spread into the water and begin colonizing the charcoal. Now cover the bucket loosely with a lid and let it sit for 5 to 7 days. During this time, microbes will multiply, feeding on the organic matter in the compost and moving into the charcoal pores. At the end of the week, you'll have living, microbe-loaded charcoal ready to transform your soil. Even the best microbial inoculant will fail if it's dropped into compacted or lifeless soil. Microbes need air, food, and a balanced environment to wake up and work. Start by loosening the soil. So, to break up compaction, you'll want to use a garden fork or a broad fork, working the soil to a depth of at least 6 inches. This step really helps to loosen things up and get your soil ready for the next stage. You actually don't need to till aggressively. Just focus on relieving the pressure so air and water can move through the soil profile. That gentle approach is usually all you need. Once your soil is loosened, go ahead and add some organic matter. Spread about 1 to 2 inches of compost right over the surface and lightly mix it in. Compost is like a microbe buffet. Without it, the charcoal just won't perform to its full potential. If you have bone meal, go ahead and add about 1 cup per square yard. This provides phosphorus and calcium, which really help support root growth and encourage microbial activity in your soil. By combining a loosened soil structure, organic matter, and slow-release minerals, you're, well, laying the foundation for microbes to really thrive. After your week of fermentation, the charcoal mixture in your bucket should smell earthy and just a little bit sweet. That's actually a good sign of active microbial life. Give the mixture one more good stir, then spread it evenly across your prepared bed at a depth of about ½ inch to 1 inch. For a 4x8 bed, you'll need roughly 1 to 2 gallons of inoculated charcoal. Work it gently into the top few inches of soil, making sure it contacts the compost and mineral amendments you've added. This creates a living layer where microbes can begin feeding immediately. Water the bed thoroughly with non-chlorinated water to help microbes settle into their new home. From here, the microbes will multiply, breaking down organic matter, releasing nutrients, and creating soil aggregates that improve drainage and aeration. Manure and compost feed microbes, but they don't guarantee long-term stability. Once the food is consumed, microbial populations crash, and you're back to square one. Charcoal changes that. Its porous structure holds nutrients, moisture, and microbes, ensuring they stick around season after season. Studies on biochar, yeah, that's another name for this kind of activated charcoal, show it can increase microbial biomass, improve cation exchange, and honestly, enhance plant growth for years without needing to reapply it. So, this means your one-time effort this season can actually keep paying off for, well, 5 to 10 years depending on how much you put down. In comparison, a load of manure is usually gone in just a few months and, it might even leach nutrients if it isn't stabilized. By combining manure or compost with charcoal, you really get the best of both worlds, immediate food for microbes and a permanent habitat for them to thrive in. If you're working on a single raised bed, you'll want to prepare about 2 gallons of crushed charcoal, half a gallon of compost, and then just fill the rest of your bucket with non-chlorinated water. After letting that mixture sit for a week, go ahead and apply it evenly across the bed. For larger garden plots, you'll need to scale up by preparing multiple buckets. A good rule of thumb is to use 1 gallon of inoculated charcoal for every 20 square feet of garden space. When it comes to orchard trees, dig a ring trench around the drip line of the tree, about 6 inches deep, and fill it with the inoculated charcoal. You'll want to use about 1 gallon for young trees and 3 gallons for mature ones. So this method provides microbes directly where feeder roots grow, and that, honestly, ensures long-term fertility. In the weeks after application, you may notice changes in your soil texture before you even see changes in your plants. The soil will hold moisture longer, but, it'll also drain excess water more easily. When you dig, you'll find crumbly aggregates instead of hard clods. Earthworms often show up within a month because, well, the microbial life attracts them. Plants grown in these beds typically show deeper green leaves, stronger root systems, and more vigorous growth. Over time, harvests become heavier and more nutrient-dense because microbes unlock minerals that roots alone can't access. Poor soil doesn't have to mean poor harvests. What most gardeners miss is that microbes need a stable home to thrive, not just a temporary meal. By preparing and applying microbe-loaded charcoal, you can give your soil life a permanent boost. Combine it with organic matter and loosened soil structure and you'll transform even the most stubborn garden bed into a thriving ecosystem. This is an easy one-time fix that pays off year after year. If you found this guide helpful and want to keep learning the proven practical methods that make soil come alive, subscribe to Hydrohaven and share this video with other gardeners who are struggling with dead soil. Together we can revive our gardens from the ground up.